Tuscan Leather versus Ombre Leather by Tom Ford versus La Yuqawam by Rasasi. Stay tuned after this intro if you really want to know which one really worth buying. Okay? What is going on, guys, and welcome again to another video with no editing, hopefully, because I just hate editing. Okay, and I'm just taking that for granted just because you guys like that. Okay, so I love you for liking me with my videos with no editing, so just why I'm just gonna keep on doing them. And I have a great video for you guys today that you guys requested. Okay, a lot of you guys love Tuscan Leather, but Tuscan Leather, actually, as a matter of fact, it's pricey. It's not as cheap as some other alternatives, for example, like La Yuqawam by Rasasi, or nowadays Ombre Leather by Tom Ford. Let's just compare these three together when it comes to the smell alone, when it comes to the performance, when it comes to the price point, when it comes to the likability and the complement factor and everything, and let's see which one really worth purchasing. Okay, let's just start off with Tuscan Leather, because Tuscan Leather came out first, so it's the OG or the original when it comes to sweet leathery fragrances, and it's also the harshest when it comes to the smell alone. Between these trio right here, I have like a decant. This decant, it's very famous decant that you guys been seeing a lot ever since I started my YouTube channel, and that, I believe, that was my very first decant that I ever purchased from decant shop. It was very overpriced, very expensive when I got this vintage 30 ml decant from decant shop. At a time, I still have like half of it. I'm cherishing it. I don't wear it as much, only for special occasions, just because, first of all, just to let you know, I'm gonna be a little bit biased when it comes to Tuscan Leather. Tuscan Leather, just because it is one of my favorite fragrances of all time, and this is the vintage as well. That is why this one has a special place into my heart. This one, it costs $340 for the 100 mls, opposed to its equivalent from the same house, which is Tom Ford Ombre Leather. This one, for 100 ml, like this one right here, it costs $184. So there's a big difference when it comes to the price point from the same exact house for a fragrance that smells, I wouldn't say almost the same, but up to 75% the same, in my honest opinion, compared these two fragrances right here. Ombre Leather, in the community, they consider it as the designer version of this one, because this one is from the private blend, so they consider this one niche, but opposed to this one right here, they consider it as a designer fragrance, which doesn't make sense to me personally, in my honest opinion, just because this one on its own, it's not as cheap. Okay, so it doesn't come across as a regular designer fragrance price point. Okay, so the regular designer fragrance, it costs around $100, give or take, in from Sephora. This one, again, is like $184 with taxes. It's over $200. So I would say, when it comes to the price point alone, I consider this one as niche. And when it comes to the smell as well, I consider this one as niche as well, because this one totally taken a niche version of things. So you don't see a lot of niche fragrances that actually have a very hefty leather based fragrance as their main note. Okay, so that's what it is for me personally. But when it comes to smell, Ombre Leather opposed to Tuscan Leather, I feel like, and I'm talking about the vintage, the nowadays formulation when it comes to Tuscan Leather, is still great, but it's not as harsh, or it's not as in your face as this one right here. It's a little bit diluted, but it still smells great with great performance. So don't get me wrong, okay? But definitely, I feel like the Tuscan Leather is definitely stronger, more powerful, it's pungent, and it's piercing more than the actual Ombre Leather, even though they smell very alike, but I feel like the leather in a Tom Ford Tuscan leather, it's definitely rounder. It's definitely more mass appealing than the harsher version of Tuscan leather that they had to add a lot of sweetness into it when it dries down just to make it appealing, and it does come across very appealing to my nose personally when this one dries down because of that raspberry sweet note, which is to die for. Okay, opposed to this one it's a bit floral with the sambac jasmine, and it's rounder. Okay, it's definitely got some sweet elements, but not raspberry as this one. I definitely prefer the raspberry note. Raspberry, it just works perfectly with leather. Okay, so if I had to compare ombre leather, which I love, to a Tuscan leather, I would definitely pick Tuscan leather just because of that raspberry note, especially when it dries down. It's just to die for. Okay, this one, it's definitely a sweet leather, but I prefer Tuscan leather to my liking. Let's just compare these two to the Yuqawam. Yuqawam, first of all, it costs 59.99 brand new, MSRP. Everything here is MSRP. So it's definitely the cheapest of the bunch, and it smells great. I don't find it to be a cloney clone just because I feel like the quality here is there as well. Just because if you compare this one side by side to Tuscan leather, you would see very minimal differences. Okay, probably this one is a little bit just sweeter. This one a little bit rounder. This one definitely harsher, and this one also it's not as strong as Tuscan leather. Don't get me wrong, this one is still pretty strong. All these fragrances are pretty strong, okay? But compared to the Tuscan leather one, Tuscan leather is definitely the strongest of the bunch. So Tuscan leather wins when it comes to the performance. The smell on its own, I love Tuscan leather. So I'm telling you guys, and I told you guys up front that I'm just gonna be biased when it comes to Tuscan leather just because it's one of my favorite fragrances of all time. Even though I just don't own a fragrance, a full bottle of it yet. I don't think I'll own a full bottle of it, a regular full bottle. I'm thinking of owning a flacon in the future, and hopefully, if I could get myself a vintage flacon, I would be so happy. Seriously, but I'm okay with this one right here just because this one actually gets me, as a matter of fact, more compliments than Tuscan leather, just because I wear this one more than Tuscan leather. Okay, but this one on its own, it smells beautiful and gets compliments, and it's one of my go-to going out scents if I just want to go out and have fun. Okay, when it comes to the likability, again, to the masses. Okay, I'm not talking about myself personally, I'm talking to the masses just because I'm trying to be a little unbiased for my biased review of this video. But anyway, I feel like ombre leather probably is the safest of the bunch just because of how rounded it is when it comes to the leather note in here. It's not as rough around the edges. It's not as animalic as Tuscan leather or even in rasasi. The ombre leather leather note here, it's definitely more refined. So if you are into more refined leathery scents, definitely this one, it's definitely more refined and more elegant. It's less piercing when it comes to the leather note. Okay, so this one is definitely the most mass appealing of the bunch. This one is the strongest of the bunch. This one is the cheapest of the bunch. All of them, they last for a long time, so it doesn't really make sense to me personally to compare the performances because this one actually lasts the longest, but these two as well last for a long time. This one, on the other hand, it lasts for a long time when it comes to the longevity, but the projection, it's got a nice decent bubble, but it's not the biggest bubble around you. Okay, people definitely would still pick it up, people definitely give you compliments, but it doesn't have the biggest bubble around you, opposed to this one has a definitely bigger bubble. So if you just want something that would project more and would actually get more people's attention, this one is the one for you. If you don't want to spend that hefty price point for Tuscan leather, of course. So this one projects more than this one, but this one is definitely more refined than this one. And when I say this one, I'm talking about these two right here. Okay, so this is pretty much it, guys. If I had to pick one, I'll definitely pick the three of them. To be honest, that's why I own the three of them. I told you Tuscan leather, it's great, but because it's the vintage version that I don't have, or it doesn't exist no more, that's why I just didn't buy a bottle for the longest time. And I had this one, I was like so happy with this one. I was like, why spend the hefty price point for something that I have something very similar to it with a fraction of the price. Okay, so I feel like for the average Joe, if you just want to get something that projects and just like get you compliments and definitely sweeter than Tuscan leather, I feel like this is the best bang for the buck when it comes to the price point, when it comes to the refinery, or when it comes to the elegance on its own. I feel like Tom Ford Ombre leather is definitely the most elegant of them all, and Tuscan leather is definitely is the most arrogant of them all, just because he knows how handsome this person is and how good looking again this person is and how rich because of the price point how this person is, and it's kind of like it's got a little bit of attitude. So this is the attitude, the most attitude of the bunch, and these two are more laid back. So it's up to you what kind of personality do you have, but this is pretty much my suggestions of the trio. Let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think of this video? What is your favorite, Ombre leather, Tuscan leather, or La Yuqawam? There's definitely more leather based fragrances, but these trio right here are the are very close to each other when it comes to the smell alone. There's definitely clones of a Tuscan leather, but we're not talking about clones on this video, probably on a different video which we can talk about clones of Tuscan leather. But if you just want to get the real deal or something very like official, another Tom Ford that smells a lot like it, or like Yuqawam from Rasasi, which is a reputable inexpensive brand as well. Let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think of this video? What is your favorite of the trio? Give me a like, give me a subscribe, follow me on my sweet Instagram, and see you guys on the next video, because I like the fact that I am doing videos like one shot. So if you are interested on my whole collection leather based fragrances, mainly leather, so I'm not talking about a fragrance with a secondary leather note in the background. If you are looking to see all the leather based fragrances, mainly leather, in my collection, please let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll do that video very soon for you. So comment, and help this channel grow a little bit more. Okay, so thank you guys so much, and see you guys next time. I know sponge making smelling good always easy, and this video is done, one shot. I'm happy. Thank you.